So today again we are doing the topic force, and in force we will do moment, clockwise, anti-clockwise moment, couple, and some example of the moment how it affect the motion of an object. So in last video we have discussed the effect of force on the rigid and non-rigid object, and on rigid object we had studied that the on rigid object the force whenever the applied, that force will cause change in the motion of the object. And so today we are going to study moment, so how it will change the motion of the object and what is moment. So first of all we start with our definition moment of the moment. So we have two terms in the physics, one is the moment and other is the momentum. So never get confused with the moment and the momentum. These two are the separate terms. They are similar in their pronunciation somewhat, but they are the different terms. Momentum, let me discuss it. Momentum, see, the product of mass and velocity. What? So the mass and velocity of an object is said to be the momentum. That is the momentum. And moment, so the product of force and distance, perpendicular distance from the point of application to the axis of rotation, that is said to be the moment. And momentum, that is the mass and velocity, product of mass and velocity of an object is said to be the momentum. So momentum is not required now, so just I had told you, so you should not get confused with the moment and the momentum. So moment, first of all, let we have an object. Now this one is the object and this one is the object, and this one is pivoted at a particular point. So in last video I had told you that whenever an object is pivoted at a point, so rigid object, on the rigid object force act in the two manners. So whenever it is pivoted, it will, the force will cause the turning effect, and whenever it is not pivoted, suppose we have the same object but it is not pivoted at a particular point, force which cause the displacement of the object, that means object will get displaced in this way, in this way, in this way. So in whatever the direction we are applying the force, the object will get displaced in that direction. But whenever the object is pivoted to a particular point, under that situation, if force is applied on the object, that force will cause the turning effect, that force will cause the movement in the object around that particular point. That means object will tend to do the rotatory motion under that situations. So that means whenever force is applied, okay, we have an object and it is pivoted at a particular point. This is the point where the object is being pivoted. So if under this situation force is applied on the object will tend to move in this direction or in this direction, in whatever the direction we will apply the force. So the product of force applied, that means we are doing the two things. Force is being applied on the object, and here is a distance between the pivoted point and the object, and that distance, so there are the two factors. Force is being applied on the object and the object means rotating. So object is rotating in a particular direction, means around the pivoted point, that means in continuous manner around the pivoted point. That means from the pivoted point the distance of the object will always remain constant, and that distance, in order to calculate the moment, that distance is calculated, and that distance we take that the perpendicular distance. So that means in order to understand moment, we are taking force, we are taking distance, but distance you cannot take in any manner. Distance should be taken in order, means it should be a perpendicular distance. That means if you are trying to take the distance in this manner, it is not valid. If you are taking the distance from this point, pivoted point, to this point, it will not valid. That means distance will be always taken perpendicular between the pivoted point and the object. So moment, what is the definition of the moment? the product of force. It is what? It is the product of force and perpendicular distance. What kind of distance? It is the perpendicular distance. So product of force and the perpendicular distance between the point of क्या जाएगा application of force, the place where we will exert the force, the place where we will apply the force, that is said to be the point of application of force. That is called point of application of force. That is the point of application of force. So we have the terms. See, moment is the product of force and the perpendicular distance, and the distance is measured from the point of application of the force to the axis of rotation where the object is being rotated. So the axis of rotation, that is said to be the moment of force. So the moment of force, I am writing moment of force is defined as the product of point of application of the force, product of force and perpendicular distance from point of application of the force, to the axis of rotation, so that is said to be the moment of force. So that is the moment. Now we got the moment, we understood the moment, simply the product of force and the distance, and distance is to be measured, distance is to be taken, it should be perpendicular distance from the axis of rotation to the point of application. Now unit, so it is the क्या हो जाएगा, it is the distance from the object, perpendicular distance and force. So unit will be written, so moment equals to moment, mathematically if moment is written, so the force into distance, and distance should be perpendicular, and perpendicular from where? Perpendicular from the point of application of force to the axis of rotation. That is, now unit of force, that is the Newton, and the unit of distance, that is the meter. So unit is Newton meter. Now you will have one question in your mind, sir, Newton meter is also the unit of Newton meter is called joule, that is the unit of force also. So miss, can we write the Newton meter? So will we have to write the Newton meter, or we can replace it by joule, because 1 joule equals to, you miss, you were writing 1 Newton into 1 meter, or joule equals to Newton meter. So joule was equals to Newton meter, joule is equals to Newton meter, and here the unit is Newton meter. So can the unit be being replaced by the joule? No. So the unit will remain itself in the Newton meter, and that is the differentiate between the unit of work and the unit of moment. So you will write Newton meter, it will not get replaced by any other terms. So now moment understood, unit of moment understood. Now clockwise and anti-clockwise. So by applying the force, what we are getting here, so we are applying a force on an object that is being pivoted to a particular point, and due to the application of the force, object starts moving in a particular direction. That means it causes turning effect. Now, so whenever the force causes the object to move in a clockwise direction, the moment produced is said to be the clockwise. We have the two kind of moment, clockwise and the anti-clockwise. So we will understand it in simple way. So what we are getting, so means whenever we are applying a force on a rigid object that is pivoted to a particular point, so due to the application of the force, the object starts rotating in a particular direction. So whenever the object, due to the application of the force, if the object start rotating in a clockwise direction or like this way, so if the object starts like this way, so if the object starts moving in the clockwise direction, rotating in a clockwise direction due to the application of the force, so under that situation the moment produced is said to be the clockwise moment. But if the object starts moving in an anti-clockwise direction like this one, anti-clockwise direction due to the application of the force, under that situation moment produced is said to be the anti-clockwise moment. So we have the clockwise and the anti-clockwise, both the situations. Now suppose we have a line of action here. Now this one is the point of pivotations. Now in like this one you will have the diagram, and if miss you are doing the numericals, so under that situation whenever you will draw the diagram you will have like this one. So at the means from this diagram we are getting clockwise and anti-clockwise. So if suppose here, suppose we have a line of action here, object is pivoted at this point. So if the force is applied downward from the left, if the force is applied from the right, so under that situation this force will be called clockwise. Under the moment produced is said to be the clockwise. Now this one is said to be the anti-clockwise, and again if opposite, so this one again we are applying the force at the left of the our diagram. So downward force will create the anti-clockwise moment, but upward force will call clockwise moment, and again it will be the clockwise, and if it is upward it will be the anti-clockwise. So in order to get clockwise we have the two, this one downward and upward, it will be the clockwise. And if anti-clockwise, so again if the point of pivotation, so this one and this one, it will be the anti-clockwise. If this situation arises both will be the anti-clockwise, and if this situation arises both will be the clockwise, because clockwise and anti-clockwise is very important, very means it is needed to understand this one, because whenever you will write the result of the moment, under that situation you will have to mention the direction, that means whether it is clockwise or anti-clockwise. If you are not mentioning, that means your answer will be incorrect, marks will be deducted. Now couple, so two equal and opposite forces, couple is two equal and opposite forces. If we have the two equal and opposite forces that is not acting along the same line, is said to be, क्या कहलाएगा, that is said to be the moment of moment. Under that situation it is said to be the couple. Couple means pair. So couple is what? Two equal and opposite forces not acting along the same line is said to be couple. So couple is two forces that is equal in magnitude, opposite in direction, but is miss क्या जाएगा, it is not acting along the same line of action, so that is said to be the couple. Now resultant moment. Now one more terms, that is the resultant moment. Whenever there is the two or more moments, suppose if the moment is, first moment is of 10 Newton meter, and that is the anti-clockwise, and again second moment is again 15 Newton meter, and that is also in anti-clockwise directions. So under that situation total moment will be 10 plus 15 Newton meter, and that will be the anti-clockwise. That means if the moment, all the moments are applying in the same direction, it will be the resultant moment will be the sum of all the moments applied. But if the moments are in the opposite directions, under that situation the resultant, suppose we have the 20 Newton meter of moment in the anti-clockwise directions, and we have again second one is 30 Newton meter of moment in the clockwise directions. So under that situation resultant moment equals to 30 minus 20, that is the 10 Newton meter, and where in the clockwise directions. So this one is the resultant moment. Resultant force you are studying from the class 6-7. So resultant, that means find the value. If in the same direction, add all the values. If in the opposite directions, subtract the values. So this one is the moment of force. So moment near about couple moment, this one we understood. And moment, so in order to increase the moment, we increase the length of the object. So we have lots of example of the moment. that is the spanner, hammer, etc. That's a spanner. A spanner have the long handle. So what we say, a spanner has the long handle. Why long handle? So in order to it has the long handle, so under that situation it is length of the point, length from the point of application to the point of application of the force to the axis of rotation increases, and under that situation moment increases, so it become easier to open the nuts. And again we have the lots of example, that is the paddle, cycle. In cycle paddle is क्या जाएगा, means always given at a distance from the action, means from the point of pivot. In order to increase the distance, so it will increase the moment. So like this one you have lots of example and you can study. So moment, couple, these are completed, and in next video we will do the equilibrium, and after that we will solve numericals.